5 acres in the Knuckles Forest Reserve cleared. Death threats posed to farmers who revealed the destruction of the Kavantissapura River and Masakadara River. A new gazette issued to provide legal documents to occupy state-owned lands. Civil organizations warn of illicit acquisition of lands in the guise of the new gazette notification. Who drafted the 20th Amendment? The plot thickens. Possibility of replacing the already announced amendment with a new one. Opposition leader speaks of a 19 plus to strengthen the 19th instead of a 20th Amendment. Professor Abe Ratna Bandara appointed as the competent authority at the University of Visual and Performing Arts.
A very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. I'm Michaela Fernando, and with me is sign language interpreter Taraka Gabriel. In your top story, the Sri Lanka Medical Council has said that the delisting of 3 Russian universities had been done accidentally. Speaking to Newsfirst, SLMC chairman Professor Harindra Selva said that an investigation is to be carried out in this regard.
The committee looks into these matters. When examining that this time, matters concerning 7 universities had surfaced. With regard to those reports, we didn't consider whether it was a foreign or local one, or whether it would cause any issues. We made those decisions based on the report. The universities can't be delisted simply. It has to be decided by the committee. Once it is decided by the committee, it has to be approved at the meeting. After that, it must be approved at the meeting of the council as well. The decision will then be sent to the minister in charge. It is the minister who will make the final decision. In this instance, it was not a decision of the council. A person had removed it from the website assuming that the delisting has been approved. Now that we were informed about that, we will convene a meeting. We must then decide whether we must include those names again and consider whether they must be examined again or not. The removal of the names of these universities from the website was a mistake.
Although the SLMC chairman has expressed such remarks, a letter issued with the signatory of the Sri Lanka Medical Council's secretary shows that the council has rejected the recognition of the Pirago Russian National Research Medical University, the Tver State Medical University and the People's Friendship University of Russia.
Meanwhile, another instance of environmental destruction was reported from the lower Panvilla area in the Knuckles Forest Reserve today.
This is the manner in which 5 acres of land in the lower Panvilla area in the Knuckles Forest Reserve have been cleared recently. Upon inquiries made by Forest Conservation Department officers in the area, it has been revealed that the land had been cleared to commence a vegetable cultivation.
What you can see in the distance is the first waterfall that begins from the Knuckles mountain. We express our regret over the manner in which land has been cleared in a sensitive ecological zone.
Forest conservation officials said that individuals involved in clearing the land had claimed that the area was owned privately. However, they did not have any legal documents to prove their ownership.
There is a risk that silt could be deposited in the Victoria Reservoir due to these activities that have taken place in violation of the Soil Conservation Act. The individuals responsible for this must notify and obtain approval before embarking on such activities. However, nothing has been done.
Regional officers of the Forest Conservation Department said that their records do not indicate that the land area had been owned by a private entity. Environmental organizations say that it is surprising that no institution has been made aware of the activities taking place in such a highly sensitive ecological zone.
Now, entities responsible for the destruction of the Masakadara River in the Kavantissapura area in Thissa Maharama have exerted undue pressure on a farmers' organization that revealed about the illegal activity. Representatives of the farmers' organization say that they have received death threats from those responsible.
Yesterday, Newsfirst reported on the destruction that is being caused to a river that supplied water to hundreds of farming families. The water body had been destroyed due to a large-scale rock quarry that is operating in the vicinity of the Masakadara River. A person believed to have been involved in the rock quarry had threatened the spouse of the individual who had revealed about the illegal activity to the media.
At around 9 a.m., a person visited our house. I asked who he was. He identified himself as Muna Singha, who owns the rock quarry. He said that petitions have been filed against the rock quarry and that it had been shown during the news on Sirasa TV. He then scolded me with profanity and leveled death threats at my family. He also kicked the chairs in the house and then left.
The woman had filed a complaint with the Rissa Maharama police following the incident. Our cameras are able to capture the large-scale destruction that has been caused due to the quarry. The Maskada River in Kavantisapura is located on the borders of the Monragala and Hambantota districts. Around 100 families had been engaged in farming with the assistance of the water obtained from the river. The 4 sources of water for the river have been blocked due to the rock quarry.
It has been 21 years since we started using the river. There are 2 spill gates for the river, however there is no canal. A rock quarry is operating illegally in the reserve. The river is being destroyed due to the soil that is being washed into it from the quarry. We cannot travel on the road when quarrying activities take place. They have constructed a canal from the river to obtain water for them. The officials of the forest department are yet to remove their equipment. They are thriving on that. The amount of soil that flows into the river increases with the rate of quarrying. When quarrying activities take place, the bund of the tank becomes damaged. There is a leak in the bund now as well. When the river fills during rains, we are afraid that its bund might break. When a situation of this sort occurred some time back, it was only after 6 years that it was repaired.
In more local news, the Land Commissioner General's Department has issued a gazette on issuing legal documents to those who have occupied state lands. The gazette has been published to expedite the issuance of legal documents to those who have occupied or developed state lands without any documents. This is to achieve the goal of enhancing investment opportunities, promoting local dairy production and cultivating local food crops as per the government's policy titled Vistas of Prosperity and Splendor. As an initiative to reach that goal, the Gazette instructs to issue legal documents to ensure the clear title of the land to Sri Lankan citizens. Accordingly, duly completed applications seeking these documents must be handed over to the Divisional Secretariat or Grama officer in the respective areas of the applicants on or before the 30th of this month. The Gazette notes that legal documents would be issued to selected applicants in all districts except for Colombo and Gampa, in which special development projects are to be implemented.
We will resolve issues pertaining to lands. It cannot be done in a day or two. We have to survey these lands first. There is a shortage of surveyors. During my term, I told officials in the Mahaweli Authority that we will bring down surveyors even from India to survey these areas. This is to resolve land-related problems and to take a clear decision for the future generations of farming communities. We must give priority to farmers when granting ownership of lands.
The Gazette has been published. They have allowed their henchmen to clear forests. The person behind the destruction in Anavilundawa was Sanath Nishanta's brother. They are clearing another forest land in Hambantota as well. Now the people can clear forest lands and claim ownership of it, citing that it is used for development. Since they can't clear land at once, they have set fire to its entirety. This is a dangerous situation. When the Good Governance government tried to give away lands to multinational companies, we went to court and stopped it. This menace is emerging in a new form now.
There are corrupt politicians and businessmen who illegally acquire large areas of land. We have a suspicion whether this program was implemented to allow them to acquire these lands. They are trying to fraudulently acquire lands under the guise of issuing lands to the innocent people. This is a precursor to grant lands to the US under the MCC Compact.
The Environment Minister expressed these views on environmental destruction in the country.
There might be people attempting to cause large-scale environmental destruction. There might be politicians from the government and the opposition in that. There are powerful figures behind this. No one is free from our control. I wish to responsibly state that these culprits will be punished even if I don't hold the portfolio. I will continue to back punishing these individuals.
During an event in Kolonnawa yesterday, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa expressed his views on the government's move to hand over land to multinational companies.
Who is destroying Ramsar wetlands to make way for shrimp farming? What are the environmentalists who spoke on behalf of the government saying now? Mark my words, the government is embarking on a land project to revoke the Circular 5/2001. They are doing that claiming it would benefit farmers involved in chaina cultivation. However, they wouldn't be benefited. It is a foundation to hand over several acres of land to multinational companies. They are trying to abolish the Circular 5/2001 just as they sold valuable land areas to the Dole company.
Meanwhile, Minister of Justice Ali Sabri expressed the following views at an event held at Zahira College yesterday.
These are very important days in our life. Our country is at crossroads. Either we will get it right or will further deteriorate. I can tell one thing. Our government and His Excellency the President is keen to develop this country, treat everyone equally, support everyone to achieve greater heights. You could see that. And he had understood three main areas of importance. Number one is national security. No chances will be taken ever. They put so much of focus on that, and you shouldn't take any chance given the vulnerable history that we had. So he'll ensure, most probably with Allah's grace, a foolproof mechanism which will ensure our security in this nation with lot of priority, not with visible tanks and warfare aircrafts, but with lot of intelligence that is taking place in style, and you could see the difference. Second one is peace, tranquility and peace of mind. No underworld will be allowed to rule the country. No one will be allowed to force anyone. Everyone is a free citizen in this country. We have taken a lot of trouble on that.
කෙටුම්පත් කරපු කෙනා නම් මම දන්නේ නැහැ කවුද කියලා අධිකරණ ඇමතුමා තමයි ඒක අමාත්‍ය මණ්ඩලයට ඉදිරිපත් කළේ.
කිසිවෙනි සංශෝධනය හැදුවේ ඔබතුමාද?
නෑ මම නෙවෙයි.
Who drafted the 20th Amendment to the Constitution? Now this question still remains. Views were expressed in this regard today as well.
කොටිමකුත් අධිකරණ අමාත්‍යවරයා පවා මේක ගෙනින් පෙන්නන එක්කම දන්නේ නැහැ කවුද මේක කළේ කියලා.
නෑ ඒ තර්කය සම්පූර්ණයෙන් වැරදි.
No, that logic is completely false. A single person did not form the constitution in any country. It is not a task that can be undertaken by one person, neither it is a task that should be given to one person. That is a collective effort. In 1972, during the rule of SWRD Bandaranaike, Professor Colvin R. D. Silva was the minister who was in charge of that matter, but he was assisted by a large number of people. Was the constitution formed by the singular effort of J.R. Jayawardena? Why is this puzzling everyone? The people of this country gave their mandate for us to go ahead with this.
The Minister of Justice says that it was not him and that he does not know. Other ministers claim that they do not know and to resort to the Minister of Justice for answers. The ball is being passed from one court to another. This amendment has now become a child without a father. Now they are appointing committees. Who formed this constitution in the first place? Why would you want to look into this matter by appointing committees? Yesterday they said that they will make new amendments to this and gazette a new draft of this. What is this joke?
This affair was carried out by a group of renowned president's councils. This amendment was compiled by the contribution of many professionals and veterans. The Attorney General's department had inspected whether this has violated the fundamental law.
Nobody is taking the responsibility for the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. Minister of Justice, President's Counsel Ali Sabri says that he only presented it to the cabinet, but he does not say as to who formed this. I think the SLPPers will now understand that this was brought forward against Mahinda Rajapaksa. Therefore, we tell Namal Rajapaksa and the clan to wait patiently and see what happens next. This country is now in need of a constitution that suits its people, not one that will strengthen peculiar individuals or weaken others. We cannot understand as to what they are trying to gain by attempting to downgrade Mahinda Rajapaksa.
They used dictatorial powers to pass the 19th Amendment back then. The government did not allow even amendments to be presented to the 19th. But the 20th Amendment has been presented to the people for an open discussion.
If this was done in unison, why is Vimal Veeravansa saying something different? The 20th Amendment was not subject to an in-depth discussion in the cabinet, even though it was gazetted with the cabinet approval. We are of the suspicion that this is a ploy to weaken Mahinda Rajapaksa and engage in a different political journey by letting Basil Rajapaksa come to parliament through the national list.
There were various views and ideas from the cabinet. The president appointed a committee. Whoever that is enthusiastic enough can join that committee. It is the minister who has to take that responsibility. Even when we present a cabinet paper, we take responsibility. There is no reason to hide.
An emergency law can be introduced according to the 20th Amendment. You can obtain the parliamentary approval for that in a day. Only the president can present this emergency draft to the court. Only 24 hours will be given. I hear the Prime Minister saying that he will appoint a committee to look into the 20th Amendment. I do not understand this at all. Does this mean that the Prime Minister also did not see this? This is very sad.
If there are lapses in the draft 20th Amendment, that should be discussed, and the government has to be responsible to make the necessary changes suitably for the people of this country.
We held talks with the President last Saturday. During that discussion, the President agreed that another bill should be put forward by rectifying the issues in the draft 20th Amendment. Changes must be passed to the 13th Amendment as well in order to protect the sovereign nature of Parliament. I do not know that. I wish to tell the people not to expect that they can rectify all issues through the 20th Amendment. We have a huge belief that we will bring forward a constitution that is suitable to the country within a year and then pass it to move forward accordingly.
Meanwhile, the United States of America has signed a deal to strengthen defense and security cooperation with the Maldives. This agreement had been signed on the 10th of this month.
According to the US Department of Defense, the agreement sets forth the intention of both countries to deepen engagement and cooperation in maintaining peace and security in the Indian Ocean region. Foreign media citing the Maldives Defense Ministry reported that several bilateral activities have been outlined under the framework that was signed by the Maldivian Defense Minister and the US Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for South and Southeast Asia. This includes senior-level dialogues, discussions, engagements and opportunities in areas such as maritime domain awareness, natural disasters and humanitarian relief operations. In 2007, the US inked a Defence Cooperation Pact with Sri Lanka under the name Acquisition and Cross-Servicing Agreement, commonly known as ACSA. The agreement was renewed in 2017 with the contents of the 83-page document yet to be revealed to the public. Under the agreement, both Sri Lanka and the US have to provide reciprocal logistics support to the military during combined exercises, training, deployments, operations or other cooperative efforts. The US had also undertaken moves to sign the Status of Forces Agreement known as SOFA with Sri Lanka. Reports have shown that this would allow US troops to enter the country with the use of their US identification alone. Against such a backdrop, the US has also attempted to sign the Millennium Challenge Cooperation Agreement with Sri Lanka. This would see the US offering a grant of $480 million for several projects, including land administration as well.
How many people have been forgotten by politicians and officials who boast of large-scale development in the country? This report is on some villagers who live in isolation in the middle of a forest. While the entire world remains connected using technology, this village at the center of a forest exists in isolation. The Madakale village is located 12 kilometers from the town of Hasalaka. Around 40 families that reside in this area are yet to see a glimpse of development. This village that does not have a proper road is occupied by residents who battle with the wild elephants day and night. This is with the hope of protecting their crops and making them self-sufficient.
It is amidst these hardships that we have to go and fetch provisions for us. There is no road in the village. There is no boutique to purchase goods. A sick person cannot fetch medicine easily as well. The sick must be carried on the shoulders of the villagers in order to obtain some medicine. We will be blessed if a road can be constructed in this village.
Water or electricity are non-existent in the village. Nevertheless, the children in this village are keen to engage in their studies. However, they are forced to trek 4 kilometers from the village to reach their school. With wild elephants posing a risk, that journey becomes daunting.
There is no electricity here. We get frustrated when studying at night. We study with the help of an oil lamp. If we don't have fuel to light the lamp, we are unable to study. We don't have facilities that other children enjoy. During the coronavirus pandemic, studying material for students was sent through WhatsApp. However, we were unable to gain access to them. Since we don't have technology, we were not aware about the curfew. It is only when we reached the town that we were told about a curfew.
In the 21st century that is revolving around technology, the people of this isolated village also have a right to enjoy equal facilities. However, they do not come begging for these rights. Their request is not for the facilities that have emerged in the 21st century. All they want is some water, electricity and a road.
Meanwhile, how many people in the country do not have a roof above their heads or a proper place of lodging? Our government teams visited the villages in Vaunia, Putlam and Mathura to meet the people who are struggling with their lives.
Around 700 families live in 5-foot-4-line houses in the Selvakanda area in Deniaya that is located in the Mathura district. Each family has about 5 to 6 members. These families face hardships as they sleep at night while being cramped up within a small space. They do not have sufficient water to meet their requirements as well. Families have to allocate a portion of their income to purchase water. The politicians who made false promises during election campaigns, it is the people who have lost. The Alapaladenia Secondary School in Moravaka in the Mathura district has been abandoned by education officers. This has left 824 students helpless. The major problem faced by the people is the lack of sanitary facilities. The people of Nagavilla in Putlam are living with the expectation of receiving clean drinking water. Politicians have deceived these people on multiple occasions. The Nagavilla Mahavava has not been refurbished for almost a century. Around 300 acres of farmland in the area have been abandoned due to the lack of water. A drinking water project that had begun in the area is now a white elephant. A tank constructed under the project is filled with holes. Water that is being filled using bowsers flows out from the tank, washing away the dreams and aspirations of the people as well. Around 136 families in the Kristakulam village in Vaunia are facing a similar issue. The only river in the area is filled with silt and cannot be used for their activities. The lack of clean drinking water is a main issue for these residents. Many villages are suffering from kidney-related ailments due to this situation.
A book launch was held in Colombo today where 2 young authors showcased their talents.
Two books consisting poems and short stories were launched today by 10 and 13-year-old Janani and Thiran Veerasinghe, both students of British School in Colombo. The event was graced by the principal of the junior school of the British School in Colombo, Mrs. Hannah Wells. Mrs. Daphne Charles, attorney at law G.G. Arupragasam, teachers of British School in Colombo, students, parents and well-wishers were present. The books were titled as Thiran's Treasure Trove of Thoughts and Janani's Jewelry Box.
The title of my book is Thiran's Treasure Trove of Thoughts, and I wanted my first book to be treasured and precious.
Janani's jewelry box means that obviously my jewelry is very precious to me, so this is my treasured and prized collection of poems and stories.
In more local news, the representatives of all entities involved in the salvage operation of the new diamond oil tanker are expected to meet the Attorney General tomorrow. The General Manager of the Marine Environmental Protection Authority, Dr. Tony Pradeep Kumar, said the possibility of tugging the vessel towards the shore would be discussed during the meeting. He added that the steps that need to be taken to tug the vessel would be discussed if there is a need to do so. The objective of the meeting would be to resolve the issue without affecting marine resources and the economy. Dr. Tony Pradeep Kumar said that this is the first instance in which a discussion would be held with all parties involved in the salvage operation. A herd of about 70 wild elephants in the Nikavaratia Divisional Secretariat area and its surrounding villages were chased away to the Iginimitia Reserve after a 4-hour operation.
The operation that began at around 5 a.m. yesterday comprised 20 wildlife officers. Steps were taken to chase the herd that had been scattered in the areas falling under the Nikavaratia and Kotavehera divisional secretariats after wild elephants killed 2 people during the last 10 days and the damages that it had caused to the village. During a special discussion in the Kotavehera divisional secretariat yesterday, a decision had been made to capture and release a violent elephant and a tusker into another reserve while chasing away the rest of the herd to the Iginimitia reserve. The operation had begun following the meeting. The herd was chased away to the Iginimitia Reserve following a 4-hour operation. An electric fence in the area was activated following the exercise.
There are several other wild elephants and small herds that have been scattered. We wish to remind that under our work plan, we will ensure that these elephants will not return to the villages. We contacted a team of about 20 wildlife officials and other officers in the region and were able to drive the elephants into the Iginimitia Forest Reserve. We will capture the elephants that are causing damages and claiming human lives.
And that is a wrap of Primetime News for today. For all these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. Good night and take care.